Welcome to Parev TV. My name is Lori Kupelian and I thank you for joining us. On today's episode, Vartan Abdo interviews Anoush Froundjian and Aida Zilelian, who are co-producing and co-hosting a live storytelling show titled the Armenian Power Hour. Anoush is a storyteller and cartoonist, and Aida is an author, educator, and the head of the International Armenian Literary Alliance New York chapter. We hope you enjoy today's program.
Welcome to Parev TV. Joining us are two talented Armenian women, Anoush Froundjian, who is a storyteller and a cartoonist, and Aida Zilelian, educator and author, and also the head of the International Armenian Literary Alliance, the New York chapter. What I know is that Anoush and Aida are co-producing and co-hosting a live storytelling show. This will be held on Sunday, June 8th at 7 p.m. at the QED in Astoria, Queens. And I understand this is a project of the Armenian Power Hour. I never heard of the Power Hour before. And Aida, to open our interview, can you just share with us some highlights about the June 8th program? Who, what, when, where, why? What can you tell us?
So I am actually going to give that question to Anoush because this was Anoush's idea.
Okay.
I don't want to steal that. And then I'm going to jump in because this was all her. And I am happy to be part of this and support her.
That's beautiful. We didn't rehearse this interview. So Anoush, it's all yours.
Wow, thank you, Aida. I have to tell you, Aida and I met through the storytelling world. So, it's not like we knew each other, and it was just kind of like a kismet a little bit. And I remember you telling me that you wanted to do a show, an Armenian show. And of course, I had that in my mind since I was, a kid. And then hearing her say that, I was thinking, like, what am I waiting for? And I what I wanted to do was to create a storytelling show, but not one that is just Armenian or one that is for Armenians. Because yes, I love finding more people in our community, more people I can relate to. But I think on a personal level, but it may also be relatable to you as well. I'm just looking to find my tribe, and my childhood, my Armenian schooling was so unique that I kind of love meeting other people that, not that they went to the similar kind of school, but have a relationship to their culture in a similar way. And I think a strength for Armenians, and I'm speaking on a personal level too, is to find people in your tribe. We want to be relatable, and I think that's really important. So that's kind of, and the Armenian Power Hour name, if anybody is interested, came from a nickname I had from one of my first jobs at a UPS store, because nobody really knew who an Armenian was, which is totally fine. But that became my nickname. So I thought it was very powerful. I thought it was funny, and here we are.
Can I tell them about the last show we did? Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah. So we did our first show without realizing that we were onto something. So it was about an hour and 15 minutes in Astoria at QED. We had one Armenian tell a story. We have one Armenian by proxy, meaning someone who may know an Armenian, and the third is a wild card. And each of them told a lighthearted story based on their culture. Obviously, the first storyteller, Tamar Vezirian, told a story about her grandmother. Then the second person told a story about the culture of being a comedian. And then the third person was legally blind and told a story but it was very lighthearted. And then afterwards, we had a series of interview questions, and the place was packed, and it was super fun. And, she's just a natural when it comes to humor. And I was just happy to be part of it. And then I was like, you know what? I think we should do another one. I really, really think we should do one more. So it was a huge success. And then we said, you know what? Maybe we should do one more. And I have a feeling this is definitely, definitely going to continue. It's going to continue.
Aida, you said beautifully, when it comes to humor, Anoush is
Oh.
natural. That's a beautiful thing. And the reason I'm saying this is, Anoush, I watched some of your YouTube videos, and I love the one which related to Hrimian Lyceum
I love
and Silver Stepanian with the Cleopatra haircut, with Maro Partamian. These are people I know. Maybe that's why I could relate to what you were doing or saying. But Anush, how easy is it? How difficult is it? And where do you get your stories from? What inspires you?
My family. Oh, definitely. My family, and also I think I learned about performance from Holy Martyrs Day School.
Hmm.
My father is very funny. My mother is funny. They're funny in different ways,
Hmm.
and I kind of picked up. I got a sense of what it meant to have good timing from both of them. And I also had a family full of people that spoke at length at dinner tables and made toasts. And I was just very drawn to that. Yeah.
Ida, I've known you for a while. We have interviewed before, and I really admire your book, All the Ways We Lied. And that says a lot. That book covers a lot of stuff, very, very stuff. But I've always heard you as saying we should talk about topics that are taboo. This seems to be your mission. What is it taboo, and why is it so difficult to talk about taboo, or why is it important to open up and talk about taboo topics?
Well, I think that just like any other traditional culture, I think that Armenians are very protective of their family reputations, of ourselves as Armenians. We're not comfortable discussing things, even like depression sometimes, or any other kind of difficulty or just problems in family, everything. This is how I grew up. I'm not saying that every Armenian was like this, but it was keep your stuff private, which I understand, but it was beyond that. It was never talk about it, almost like it was a secret. And I think that it's the difficult stuff we need to talk about because I think it brings people together. And when I went out to Los Angeles, the community there, I think, is far more traditional than the East Coast community of Armenians. And I can't tell you the number of people who came up to me after the GLAC event, the Glendale Library and Arts and Culture Center. I was there. And they said, thank you so much for writing this because this is prevalent in our community and no one talks about it, which I kind of thought was odd because on the East Coast, we do kind of talk about it, but that's the East Coast. So we're human and it's important to talk about those things. So my novel is very heavy, as you read, right? And then Anush is light and she can look at all these things and make them humorous. And I think humor makes everything go down easier, which is why I'm happy to be part of this.
Anush, when we speak about Los Angeles community or Montreal, these are more immigrant communities, and definitely they're different than the New York area, the East Coasters. My question to you, society has kind of expectations from the writers, from the comedians, from everybody. Can we do the society's expectations dictate what we say on stage, or we want to accelerate that change that we want to see around us?
I I'm I think that if it is our show, and because this is a different way of looking at things, it's actually not that different. It's just pretty much. I mean, it is geared more toward the maybe East Coast style, but I'm not open to. I think I'm. It's not that I am not open to broadening that. And I say that as someone who can go both ways. and I think, again, my upbringing gave me the flexibility. Uh, I have family in LA. I lived in LA for briefly, and I think my schooling prepared me in every way. I mean, of course, I am geared towards speaking, we all spoke Western Armenian, of course, but I know how to speak Eastern Armenian. I know I feel privileged that I was trained so well from Holy Martyrs, from my family. And I think beyond all of those things, beyond the differences of dialects and what's normal culturally, I think it all comes down to values. I think at the end of the day, we all have the same values. And I was saying, don't tell everybody about your family. That's kind of universal within the Armenian community, but within that, there's you could talk about your family, but it's up to you what you want to reveal to society, because at the end of the day, your business becomes everybody's business. So however you want to define that is up to you. And so that's kind of how I'm approaching this.
Your business is your business. I like it. Aida, why is it easy for us to read about these topics, taboo topics, or listen to these topics? But when it comes to talk about them or share our beliefs on stage, it's more difficult. It's more difficult.
I just think that people don't want to make themselves vulnerable to being judged.
And you don't like that.
I don't mind it at all, but I think a lot of other people do. I mean, when my book came out, we won't get into it too deeply, but I received a lot. I took a lot of heat for my book, a lot of heat from different family members. Oh,
So
yeah.
how do you react to that?
I'm a writer. And when anybody who is creating something needs to accept the fact that people will be unhappy with you, and then you've done your job.
Well,
In a way, you've done your job if some people are unhappy.
Arnush, let's go back to June 8th. What is the program all about? What can people expect if they were to attend it?
Okay, so Aida and I will invite everybody, and what I've been doing, and I have enjoyed every minute of it. I also illustrate, so
Yes.
I kind of give everybody a brief background, because not everybody in the audience is Armenian. They maybe need to see what it looks like, what the country shape looks like, a couple of important dates, and I keep it humorous. So we have. We have the Battle of Avarad. I'm not going in order, but Noah's Ark landing on Mount Ararat, the year 301,
Share.
Sorry.
You
And
talked
share.
about share.
Yeah, no, we have Mesrop Mashtots, we have Battle of Avarad, and and I was and share, like her first recording, it depends on how you want to look at it, but so we give them a briefing of
Like
the
5
Armenian
minutes,
culture.
like 5
Yeah, yeah.
nothing crazy, yeah.
And then we have our first storyteller, who is Armenian, and we have Janet Sullivan, and then we're going to have our next story. I think we're going to decide what our order is going to be, but we have 3 amazing storytellers. We have Janet Sullivan, Tracy Starr, and Justin McElwee, and let it be known that Justin McElwee is my husband.
Mhm.
And then we're going to have a end of show Q&A. And I really liked our Q&A last time. I thought we had a really good time.
We shouldn't give away the questions. People should come.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
can hang out, because the Q&A is just as fun as the storytelling.
Yeah.
I
Aida,
know.
why did you say you think this project, this storytelling project, will be growing?
Because I think there's a need for it, and there is nothing regular. I mean, there is nothing consistent that's out there, and we're in New York City, And it just doesn't appeal to Armenians, but it appeals to people of different cultures. And it also appeals to everyone. Even Americans can show up because it's not just Armenian people
Yeah.
talking about their Armenian lives.
Mhm.
And there's a place for it. So if we can pull it off once a month, I think, Anoush, we're going to try to do it once a month. And we have an Instagram page now, the Armenian Power Hour, which everyone should follow.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a regular show, a monthly show, I think.
Could you see your show being presented at an Armenian cultural center or a church hall?
Maybe inevitably. Anoush, you could speak for that.
It may be a tall order depending on what the community is comfortable with or not. But I think if we can get through the door, they'll realize that this was a good decision and they'd feel right at home. It will be different from, Armenians simply talking about Armenians. But I think the true way to build a community or be relatable or to be heard is to find people with similar values. That's how we grow. And I think they will. I think they will.
I do too. I do too. I think we should think about putting together like five Armenians, and maybe this is later on, maybe in the fall or the winter, we could talk about
And
it.
if I may add, I'm sorry, one thing. I think the way I realized that what made me realize that we really have something here is after Aida got an email from one of our guests saying, "I want to be on your next show." And they were not Armenian. I mean, we've had both, but this particular person I'm thinking was not Armenian. She felt so at home. That means it was a good show. That means it landed.
I feel that you are living the change you would like to see in the world. You are in the forefront. That's a beautiful thing to do. You need courage. As you said, Ida, you get heat sometimes, but it's a reaction. It's a response to what you're doing. And I think you should be happy to get that response because people are very, very indifferent these days about anything around them. So in that sense, in closing, Anoush, what is your closing remark?
Come to the show. Come to
Yep.
the show. Make yourselves at home. Feel, or as I'm outing my father when he said once, but feel yourself at home. But yeah, please join our family. Join our family. Feel like you're at home with us. That's what I'd say.
Ida, what is your Instagram address and what is your closing remarks?
You could follow the Armenian Power Hour.
Power Hour.
The Armenian Power Hour. And my closing remark is agreeing with Anoush. Come and check it out. Follow us. There will be many shows in the future. And I'm really excited to start this from the beginning and the ground up because Anoush is great. And thanks for having us, Vartan. Thank you.
Both Anoush and Ida are great. And I really, really enjoyed talking with you. And blessings to you. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much.
Please.
Thank you so much.